the energy around the middle of the park has gone away. The sting that they had with their ball playing, but also their running. Is it because they played big minutes? These smaller teams are getting them around the ruck.
They're playing so deep and so early when Dallin gets the ball, and he doesn't have the room that he had last year to run to the corner, and he's almost running into touch and flicking it back.
I don't know what's going wrong at the moment with the Warriors around their attacking and their defensive stuff. I think, you know, if you can clean up the ruck area and win that part, then everything else kind of looks after itself. But again, the connection out wide for me, there's most really, when you're doing it tough, sometimes you panic and you make rational decisions, and that's what it feels like at the moment for me, is they're trying to solve things individually rather than collectively as a group, because the only way they're going to solve all these issues that they're having is together as a team. So it just didn't look good. I didn't think the Knights were any better. The Warriors still had a chance to win their game, but what you got to do is give credit to the Knights. They hung tough. They defended well. It's a wet game. I felt like the Warriors were trying to go sideways too much, and Dallin was getting, you know, pretty much running out nearly, and the Newcastle Knights just shifted him across the field. I know that Stacey come out in half-time and said that they need to square up their attack and play through him. The moment they play through him, they score a nice try, Dylan Walker. And that's what they're doing, I guess, at the start of the year in their first games, where they were winning games. Their ball playing through the middle of the park was squaring up the line and giving the guys out wide opportunities to play their style of football. They haven't been able to do that, whether it's been the opposition that have tightened up their middle areas and just really defended well. I don't know, but at the minute they've got to find something that's going to have to change their mentality, or the way they get out of this is to work hard together and try and come over the top.
I think it's quite evident confidence is low, individually and collectively. There's some players that are really down on confidence in their abilities, and therefore that manifests itself in the team not being able to connect. And things were coming so easy last year. Things were just flowing, and they were playing a lot. When you're like that, you play on instinct. You know what the next bloke's doing, you trust what they're doing, and you know where your line has to be and when you're going to get the ball. They have a predictability about them. It's become easy to defend. And they've done it for a year and a half now, and teams are able to get off. And I said this last week, they're playing so deep and so early. And that's evident when Dallin gets the ball, and he doesn't have the room that he had last year to run to the corner, and he's almost running into touch and flicking it back. Rocco Berry's getting no space. Chance is getting bundled into touch. And I think they need to come up with, if they keep the same shape, a different strategy to change angles and do. I thought when they played against the Dolphins in pre-season, they were playing really square at the line. Tohu played straight at the line. I remember Adam Fanua-Blake, he held the middle defenders when he played straight, and then Sean got the ball out the back. He played straight at the line, and they were just getting overlaps, nice and easy. But that's missing at the moment. And if that's their recipe, if that's their system they're going to stick to, then they're going to have to get some bruises and play at the line and take a whack when you're carrying the ball, because they're just playing way too early for the defence to read and fan off. But confidence is a big one, and my biggest disappointment for them is after the 10-day turnaround, I thought they looked flat. I thought they looked tired and fatigued. You know, and some of that is because they made so many errors and conceded so many penalties. But I agree with Blairy, they needed to come out with a bang and say, we've had the rest. We had 3 good days off. We're ready to go again. And they've got themselves in a bit of a hole now, and they can really get out of it in a big way by winning these next 2. Get the Roosters and Penrith, turns everything around, and you forget about the last 4 weeks. But they're really, really tough, those 2.
Yeah, I just think that the energy around the middle of the park has gone away. The sting that they had with their ball playing, but also their running around the middle of the park. Again, like we're talking about squaring or taking the ball to the line or not playing early. I haven't seen them going to the one time they go to the line, Dylan Walker actually has to do a tough, and he still had some work to do to get through, but that's the Warriors of early rounds, is the middle forwards are really going and challenging the middle park, so they're holding the defenders in close, which then allows to give those spaces out wide for those boys to do what they do. So I feel like that's where they're lacking the energy around Is it because they played big minutes? These smaller teams are getting them around the ruck. Yesterday's game was a wet game, so I guess the Knights were quite tight. So I wanted them to play around them, which we all know predictability. We all know what the Warriors are going to do. They are going to go and try and run around you. So they allowed them to try and do that by just keeping everyone nice and tight through the middle of the park, because they knew this is where they come. When you play the Warriors, you know that they're coming through the middle of the park because they've got some big bodies. Adam Fanua-Blake can do what he does. Tohu Harris, Mitch Barnett, they're tough carriers of the ball. But in this wet weather, it makes it even more harder for those guys to do their job, because the guys the defensive team just tightens up. So they've just got to tinker with a few of their, I guess game plans and I guess structures and systems are key, and I guess knowing what the oppositions are doing. And I know everyone does that stuff, but they're so committed, which is good, to the processes. But I think sometimes they've just got to run them a little bit sharper. I just don't think they're running them with the intent that they have in the past.
Yeah, and you can't cut off your nose to spite your face. You know, and be stubborn. This is how we do it. We're going to stick with it. If it's not working, you may have to make some adjustments and make some alterations. And I think that's what they need to do in order to get that confidence back. And simple fix-ups, I think. There's simple fix-ups. And it starts every single day. You've got to get the repetition, get the confidence in what you're doing, and transfer that confidence into the game.
Yeah, the only way they get out of it is just to stay tight together and try and dig themselves out of this hole as a collective. And that takes, I guess, the compliment of the Pathways boys as well. I know that they're staying over in Australia, so that ultimately helps with all the travel that they do. Understandable, because that's normal with the Warriors. They travel a lot. So being able to stay over there, bunker down, work hard together, find them way out. And like you said, they win these next two games. No one knows what happened 4 weeks ago. They're just looking at your performance right there and then. And Roosters, Penrith, it'll definitely challenge the toughness or where the club sits up against these two heavyweight contenders of the competition. And then, you're heading into match around the Penrith Panthers, and wowee, what a tournament, what a comp that we have, rugby league.